show you guys some of my favorite segments from my time on here. Please welcome our former President Thomas Jefferson. You left office just a few weeks ago, so let's discuss all the things you accomplished as our president.
Thank you so much for having me, Helen. Let's chat.
My pleasure. We have a lot to catch up on. We have received several questions concerning your presidency. What prompted you to purchase the Louisiana Territory?
Well, Helen, American settlers relied on the New Orleans port, so when the Spaniards closed it to Americans, I knew it was going to take a toll on our economy. In addition, I was afraid that if Spain controlled the river at New Orleans, we would risk getting involved in European affairs. So, I believed we had to try and negotiate with France for the land.
Speaking of France, you chose to keep the United States out of the Napoleonic Wars, correct?
Yes, Helen, indeed I did. I wanted to uphold the policy of neutrality the best I could, because I felt we were not ready to undergo another war.
So you passed the Embargo Act, which stopped American merchant ships from trading with foreign nations?
Yes, I did. It was passed with the intention of getting Britain and France to respect us, but did not pan out the way anyone expected and hurt our economy. I realized my mistake and repealed it before leaving office.
Please give a warm welcome to my friend, James Madison.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, one of your first policies you enacted in office was the Non-Intercourse Act. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring economic relief while maintaining our rates as a neutral nation. Therefore, we only stopped trading with Britain and France.
So what led the United States to go to war with Britain in 1812?
Well, Britain had no respect for our neutral rates at sea, our sailors were being impressed, and the British were supplying Native Americans with weapons. On top of that, Napoleon deceived us, culminating in the War of 1812.
Thank you for coming. Please welcome the one and only John Marshall.
Thanks, Helen. Glad to be here.
So John, tell me about your ruling in the Marbury v. Madison case. One of the most significant rulings that you made as a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Well, when Marbury sued Race Commission, I decided that the Judiciary Act had given greater power to the court than stated in the Constitution. Therefore, my decision ruled in favor of Madison, and Marbury did not receive the commission.
So what did the ruling mean for judicial gain in the long run?
My ruling gave the Supreme Court the power to overrule actions of the federal government, which gave the judicial branch a lot more power.
Thank you for coming. Joining us today, we have Old Hickory himself, Andrew Jackson.
Nice to see you again, Helen. We have lots to talk about.
Yes, we do. You made some pretty controversial decisions during your time as president, didn't you?
I did, Helen, yeah. It started with one of my many vetoes, the Maysville Road, and Clay got all upset about that one. What a jerk. Then my cabinet got mad about me trying to help poor Peggy and whatever. I didn't really need them. I had my kitchen cabinet. I also did veto that nasty thing. Hey Helen, you had Biddle on the show, didn't you? He's the worst.
Moving back a little, what do you have to say about your policies toward the American Indians?
Well, our citizens really needed the land they were on, so I didn't have a choice but to move them west, so I signed the Indian Removal Act.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Today we'll be introducing our 5th president and protege of Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe.
Hi Helen, nice to meet you. I've always wanted to be on this talk show, especially because of the good vibes you give off.
I give off good vibes? You're the president known for the era of good feelings. Can you tell me about that?
Oh, well, I actually can't be the one taking the credit, you see. While I was the Secretary of State in the midst of the War of 1812, Madison was president, and our victory as a result of his leadership was one of the factors leading into this era. But I did ignore party lines in making appointments, which lowered political tensions. I also enforced policies that would cause one political party to be dominant, leading to the temporary unification of America politically, and built national trust through 2 national tours.
See, I should be the one that is excited to see you.
Oh, stop it. It did not last for long with the coming of the Panic of 1819.
But you didn't only cause the era of good feelings, you created the Monroe Doctrine, defending American continents from a European power.
Well, it had to be done. The European powers would come to the New World and try to take over the newly independent colonies in Central and South America, and even America. So the Monroe Doctrine was necessary action required to defend us.
Thank you for joining us today. I would now like to call up a couple of contestants to play a little trivia game. These are my 2 contestants I have chosen. Buzz in to answer your questions, and whoever gets the most points at the end of the game wins a prize. First question, who are the Transcendentalists?
The Transcendentalists were those who believed in artistic expression influenced by Romanticism. They were focused on Enlightenment ideas such as nature and humanity.
Correct. 1 point to you.
Let's go.
Next question. Different economic interests caused a sectional divide in the Union. So which section favored internal improvements and why?
Oh,
Well, basically, both the North and the West supported federally funded internal improvements because it would open new markets and new ways of transportation.
Correct. 1 point to you. Wow. Both contestants are now tied. Next question. What was the temperance movement? Contestant 2?
Well, basically, alcoholism became a huge threat to society, so the movement encouraged heavy drinkers to stop because it was directly affecting everyone, especially women and children at the time.
Great job. 1 point to you. Next question. Why did some in the South refer to slavery as a peculiar institution? Contestant 1.
well, slavery was promoted in the South. However, some saw how poorly slaves were being treated, but argued it was important for slavery to exist because it would help the economy flourish.
Amazing. 1 point to you. It all comes down to the last question. Both contestants are tied. Ready? What occurred during the Seneca Falls Convention, 1848? Contestant number 2.
During the convention, there were discussions about equality, and the Declaration of Sentiments was created, which listed grievances about women and society being secondary to men.
Congratulations, contestant number 2, for being our champion of trivia. You won the new BMW luxury horse and buggy. Here you go.
Go!
Now let's bring our next guest on the show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Hellen Show.
Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight, Helen. It's a great honor to be on your prestigious show.
I assure you, the pleasure is all mine. First, let's talk about one of your greatest achievements, the American system. What was your goal in creating this program?
Well, I envisioned a protective tariff, a national bank owned by private stockholders, and the federal government to go along with internal improvements. I believe that Western land should be sold instead of being given away, so that the profits could be used to pay for education and internal improvements. My goal is to provide diversification and economic development, reduce dependence on imports, and link the different sections of the nation together.
Wonderful. Let's move on to another one of your major accomplishments. Tell me a little bit about the Missouri Compromise.
Well, in the years preceding this compromise, tensions were harshly rising between pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions across the country and inside of Congress. In 1819, Missouri requested to be admitted into the Union as a slave state, which would upset the balance between slave and free states in the Union. So, I proposed a two-part compromise. Missouri would be admitted as a slave state, and Maine would be admitted as a free state. In addition to this, an imaginary line would be drawn at the 3630 latitude line. Lands above this line would not have slavery, while lands below the line would have slavery.
Thank you for being on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, guys, I got to do some pretty amazing stuff during my time on air. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and giving me the opportunity to meet all the amazing people I got to meet. Next week, our new host will be announced, and they'll be sitting down with John Tyler for their first interview. So make sure to check it out. Thank you all again. I'm Helen DeGeneres, and this has been the Hellen Show.